Wow. We have an agreement that I mentioned earlier that we're not going to look at research that's available, but I can. You said you can say generically that there is research out there of significance that in this film will blow the roof off.
Well, absolutely. What we have that has been disclosed to us and has not been disclosed to any other documentary or film is 2011 research by a very known and renowned professor, medical doctor, and researcher from a Northeast Ivy League institution, whereby he states in his research through MRI studies that changes to the brain actually occur, and emotional toxicity actually occurs to youth from exposure to ridicule and humiliation from both parents and peers. So it's equal. That what actually happens to us as youth who are hearing these words only, nothing physical, just words, is that we are actually feeling the brain of the child, the youth, is actually being impacted as if they are being sexually abused. The same impact. Take a moment and take that in. The same impact this youth feels as having been sexually abused by a non-family member, just from being called names.
Well, when you say take a while, my word would be process. I mean, I will be thinking about that for days because there's objective proof of what occurs as a result of words hurting. I mean, they damn well do hurt and kill. Yeah. And we actually have a song on deck. And Susan, if you'll stand by on the other side, we're going to talk about some stories and Caleb Lieski and other exciting things.
Right here on the Upstate Underground, WRPI 91.5 FM. Our number here in the station is 518-276-6248 if you'd like to reach us.
And we are talking with Susan Broude, who is the producer and writer of a feature film documentary that's coming out early next year entitled Bullied to Silence. And boy, if you aren't interested today, you never will be.
Yeah.
Whoa, that MRI stuff just says... I'm trying to put it together, but Susan, I am so impressed.
It will all be in the film. We'll be disclosing who the person is, the university he's affiliated with, and all of that. And it will really blow people's minds away because it's not just a premise that words hurt and that words kill. It's not true that sticks and stones may break my bones and words, will never hurt me. Words, in fact, do hurt, and now we have the scientific proof to show it.
Well, off the air, we were discussing the parental role. The parents really need to be tuned in and aware. Can you speak to that for me?
Yes, absolutely. A lot of what's happening across our country, and we'll speak to that in a moment, is the fact that we keep really focusing on the schools and how we can change schools and make them safe for our students, which we do need to do. And we also need to have parents, all of us, take responsibility, again, be the change, so that we understand that we as parents need to support our youth. We need to do this in a number of ways. First of all, we need to be watching for the signs if our child is being bullied. We need to, if our child discloses or we find out that the child is being bullied, we need to be supportive. Get the child help in a loving way, not say, pull up your bootstraps, this too shall pass. We actually have had children take their lives because a parent has said, this too shall pass, pull up your bootstraps, no big deal, let it roll off your back, poo-pooing it. We need to validate it,
I was shocked, actually, one time when I actually heard a parent of a kid in that situation actually say, grow a pair.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, grow a pair? Really? You're the parent? Mm-hmm. You're going to say that to your son who's dealing with, verbal hell at school, and you're going to just say, grow a pair?
Absolutely. And this is the thing. We need to understand that we need to validate and support our children and get them help. And the help may be you being supportive as a parent. It also may need that the child needs to go into some other, more involved help of psychological, discussions or some peer group things. But we need to not just feel that it's non-existent. The other thing is we have parents who actually bully. And they do or don't necessarily understand it. And it happens on many different levels. First of all, we have parents at a dinner table who will be talking to Susie and say, Susie, your friend Mary, my gosh, she's such a dyke. Look at how she dresses. What message is that sending to Susie? Is that allowing Susie to become the bully so that Susie goes to school and calls Mary and everybody else a dyke? Is it sending the message to Susie that if Susie identifies as a lesbian, that she is something wrong with her because her own parent refers to her as a dyke? You know, this is the issue. It starts at the dinner table. The other thing is, if in fact we are identifying ourselves as an LGBT youth to our family, and our family is saying things such as, if I wanted a sissy, I would have had a daughter, and they're saying this to their male child who identifies as gay. If my church accepted you, I would have to change churches because we, as whatever religion we are, do not accept LGBT. What message are you sending to your child? We actually have somebody involved in the film who tells us a story of a person who's no longer with us. And what was being told to this child as he grew up and came out to his family in the last few years of his life? If you want to have that lifestyle, if you are choosing a gay lifestyle, we are using the word choice to this child,
Whoa.
you should live with Jesus. Well, my message and the way that I'm understanding that message to that child is, if you're going to live with Jesus, you're not going to be alive. And I'm sad to say, sitting here today, this child is not alive.
Wow.
I love the way you call people out on this because it has to be done. I mean,
Absolutely. Again, be the change. You know, absolutely. If we are not calling each and every person out on this, whoever they are, we are not going to allow youth and others to survive bullying. We are actually saying to people, it's okay, I'll look the other way, and, you know, so get over it. No, it's not okay. It absolutely is not. And the other thing is, one of the things we were talking about earlier is, we have so many youth in this country and world who are being bullied with anti-gay slurs, whether or not they're LGBT or whether they're perceived as LGBT. And so still the words are very hurtful. What distresses me is that as a producer of this film, and with the people we've spoken to around the country and the world over the past year of doing this film, it's so distressful to me that what is so hurtful, whether or not you're gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender, that's not the point, is that the word faggot and the energy with which it is used is so powerful and so hurtful, or you're so gay, or dyke, or any of these other anti-gay slurs, regardless of whether you identify or you're perceived to be, are so hurtful. And, you know, why? It's not a bad word. And when we've asked the youth who've had these words directed to them, why being called gay is so hurtful, is they say it's not the word gay, it's the energy behind it.
well, you are spot on with that one. I mean, working with the Gay Straight Alliance kids, this comes up again and again in terms of teachers. I have one anecdote where the teacher says, just go away, you know, where I don't want to hear about it. The indefinite pronoun, which I always never allowed in my classroom, referring to the fact that this child is an LGBT kid. I have to be quiet about it. I have to do this, but just don't mention it in my presence. As you said, what kind of a message, what kind of a verbal cue is that? It negates the being of the very child.
Absolutely. You know, it's the same thing, and we have this covered in the film. You know, you're fat, you're a slut, you're ugly, you're not talented. And when we say that to our youth, whether we're the peer, whether we're the teacher, whether we're the parent, we are saying the message, you are not good enough.
And Ulysses is with us, and I'd love to hear his thoughts because I'll be criticized again for retelling it. You're the first person on this show and the one who's said it the most. You called kids out in the locker room as a Christian brother and said it was wrong.
Well, I just did what I thought was appropriate. If we, you know, working in a Catholic school environment, if I wasn't going to call them out then where we profess to treat everybody equally, then you know they weren't doing what they were supposed to be doing in terms of treating the other kids equally. So. As an adult, and as someone that I knew was acting as a role model, I felt I needed to step up and say something.
I admire you forever for that. But Susan, that exemplifies for me what you do and what has to be done Call them out. I'd love us all to have T-shirts. Be the change. To me, that's the heart of this whole thing. Is the
They're
epicenter.
coming.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you for that. I love that. Thank you. They are coming. We will have them. They'll be available on our website at www.bulliedtosilence.com. And thank you so much, because I didn't even prompt you to do that.
No, great minds think alike, I guess.
Well, I
Congratulations.
love this lady already, and I'm
Yeah,
known her
put,
for a
put,
short
put
time.
me down for 5.
You got it. And after, we'll talk about sizes. But yes, absolutely. They're going to be
Well, size
available.
matters,
It's going to
so.
be Bullied to Silence, Be the Change, and they'll be available in both black with white lettering, because that's Tammy, our producer, and she's a wonderful graphics person. She's designed them that way. And then they'll also be available in purple, because, of course, purple people. So, yes, thank you.
Absolutely.
Well, on that upbeat note, we're going to have a song that describes something that,
Right here on 91.5 FM, WRPI Troy.
and we are chatting with Susan Broude, who is the writer and producer of a brand new documentary which will appear entitled Bullied to Silence right after the first of the year. Susan, I'm into this so deeply now. It's hard to even know where to proceed.